Welcome back. Oh, look, the color of my shirt looks very funny on here. It's very blue, and it's not a blue shirt. Wow. Welcome back to Pour Over Marketing. I am your host, Rob Southgate. And let's get this centered a little bit. Today I'm just a hair to the side. Is how it feels. I had a very strange night's sleep. It was one of those where you have a dream that just goes on and on and on and on and on. Multiple chapters, same storyline because it's dumb. And I woke up this morning and was like, oh my God, was that literally like an 8-hour dream? Probably not. They say that when you dream, it's pretty quick, like little bursts. They last seconds as opposed to what we feel like when sometimes it can feel like hours. So hopefully my brain wasn't stuck in whatever that weird loop was all night. But here we are, Pour Over Marketing. Um, I have a way to kind of start things out that's a little bit different. I know we ramble and I answer questions. That's why I should change the name to Ramble and Answer Questions. But I want to talk about morning ritual a little bit. Before I get started, new mug. Donkers out of the UP. When we were up there, you guys hopefully saw the short that I did for Pour Over Marketing when I was up there. And then it's got writing on the back. Donkers is a chocolate shop, and then upstairs I have a restaurant. Breakfast was fantastic. Our lunch Comcast again. So bear with me. If it clips out, it clips out. But anyways, everything we had there was fantastic, and the coffee was excellent. And the coffee, what was interesting is there's a place there called Deep River Coffee. I think that's the name of it. It's really, really good. Really enjoyed it. And they have a roaster who's in southern Wisconsin, might be southern Michigan. I can't remember who roasts their coffee. And I thought, wow, this is really good. Then we were at Donkers, and I'm like, wow, why am I having such good coffee up here? Turns out it's the same roaster. This roaster is excellent. I want to say it's Deep River. In fact, I can look it up while we're talking. So you can order it. Deep River Coffee Roaster. So anyway, for Donkers, what they did is they did their own version. They contacted them, which is what you do. You get them to, you taste test what they have and everything. And they said they did this, and what they told them is they wanted it to taste like the ultimate diner coffee. We all know, if you drink coffee, you know what diner coffee tastes like. And boy, when it's good, it is the best. Well, they did it. That was my reaction. I'm drinking, I'm like, wow, this is the best cup of diner coffee I've ever had. Kind of like on Twin Peaks, which is like a damn good cup of coffee. That's how it felt. Just really great. And it turns out that was what their intention was, and they achieved it. We've been up there twice recently for a wedding, I should say. You don't know what the wedding is. And wow. Really, really excellent. I think this is them. Although this one says Connecticut. I'll have to do a little more research. So, hey, maybe try that Deep River. It might be amazing. But what they told me was it was like southern Michigan or southern Wisconsin. There was a guy who had a roaster, his own roastery, and he did this, and it was exceptional. I'll have to get you that. But the restaurant you can get it in is, once again, Donkers in Marquette, Michigan. Interesting name. I had a chicken sandwich at lunch. They had their, what did they call it? Poultrygeist, which was also a B movie. There's a B movie called Poultrygeist. That's what attracted me when I saw the name. I was like, oh, hey, I want that. It was a curry chicken sandwich, a big piece of chicken with curry and cranberry, and my God, it was so delicious. Okay, enough about that. Morning rituals. We all know that I have the coffee one, and I'm sure a lot of you have the coffee one. Uh, but there's other things that we do. So for me, I have a night like I had last night where obviously I'm processing something. If you're having dreams like that, your brain is trying to process something. I could probably tell you exactly what it's processing, but that's not what the show's about. And I was like, okay, yeah, there we go. I put our comments on the side here so you can see right there. Uh, so it kind of bummed me out, though. The dream kind of bummed me out. I woke up and I felt kind of, I don't know, not connected. So I thought, okay, well, it's just coffee and waking up, you know. And about 10 minutes before the show, still kind of feeling that way. And I was telling Maeve, and she said, well, you need to go do this abundance thing, which I'll talk about in a minute. But there wasn't enough time. Then she said, oh, no, you should do a tapping. And there's this app, which I'm going to recommend to you guys. And I'm going to go back to doing this as a daily ritual. It's called the Tapping Solution. And there we go. They have it up there. Let's see their logo. It looks like the yin and yang. Okay. It's called the Tapping Solution. And if you don't know what tapping is, that's okay. It walks you through it. It's something that we've heard a lot about. We've seen. I've had people that practice it that say, yeah, it really works for me. It's literally just like tapping your hand, you tap your head and you do this thing, but it's sort of guided tapping. It's like a meditation, but there's this little bit of tapping vibration involved. I think the reason that works, you guys might think I'm crazy, or you might not know what this is. I am one who really thinks string theory is a thing. Michio Kaku is a theoretical physicist who is the one who is the big proponent of string theory. And that's that the universe is like based on almost like music, strings and vibration. And I think the reason the tapping thing works is it disrupts the strings, the vibration, or it gets them going, puts you at a higher frequency. And I know that sounds new agey and hoo-ha. Okay. Well, you know what? Maybe it is, but it seems to work beautifully for me. Uh, and the guided ones really do a great job for that. So I did a quick one, and boy, it completely like woke me up, changed me. Not that I'm 100%. If I was at 20%, I'm at 60% now. That's good. That's good. So there's a morning ritual. If you guys want to try something to kind of get you focused, because as entrepreneurs, that's the hardest thing. We go to bed thinking about our business. We wake up thinking about our business. It's right there most of the time, and you need to do things to clear the decks a little bit. That works really well, and in fact, they have them for like I did a basic one, just breathing and tapping. They have them for healing. They have them for releasing stress, for dealing with your inner child. They have all these different ones, and really at the end of the day, it's all about the tapping, I believe. But the message it's getting through seems to really work as well, just like meditation, a guided meditation. And that's the other thing that I'm starting to do again. On Spotify, they have it. Uh, Deepak Chopra has a podcast on here, and I want to make sure I give you the correct name because there it is, 21 Days of Abundance. I don't want it to start playing. I want to show you what it is without it playing. Good luck, Rob. Yeah, it doesn't, it's so hard. It doesn't have the logo coming up, but can you see that? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe not. Okay. You can't. But it's 21 Days of Abundance. And there's a bigger one. Maybe you can see that. At least you get the gist. If you see the guy with the red shirt and it's that color background, you know you've got the right one. And we've done this multiple times. Maeve and I have done this multiple times. We've recommended it to people, and everyone that we've recommended it to that did it said it was fabulous. It's just a guided meditation, like 15 minutes a day. It's a great way to start your day. You know, get your coffee, make sure you're not going to fall asleep during it, whatever wakes you up a little bit. And then you do this guided meditation. And it's all about how the universe is full of abundance and everything around you is full of abundance. In fact, the first one is all about like notice the abundance around you when you're feeling scarcity, when you're feeling, oh my God, the clients aren't there, the customers don't see me, I'm fighting, this reminds you that there's abundance. Maybe you just need to pivot a little bit, and you see, oh, there is everything there. Good morning, Jose. Yeah, you should absolutely, both of those I would recommend. The tapping solution, which is an app, and you can also find those on like YouTube for free. I think they have some free ones on the tapping solution, but you can also do the stuff on YouTube. There was one that I used to like that I tried, and then we ended up subscribing to the tapping solution because it was so good. But then this Deepak Chopra one, it's free, and do it. Do it. It's 21 days, and I'm telling you, there's a point for me every time I've done this, about 5 days in, where it really shifts how you see things. It makes you really realize, like, I can do this. Clients are there, customers are there. The universe is just waiting to give it to you. And I know that's talk is cheap. Right? You say something like that and you go, yeah, I know that. Up here I know that. And he's just telling me what I want to hear. But the reality is we need reassurance, especially you're an owner. Jose, you own a realty business, and it's stressful. You get pulled in a million directions, and what this does is it slows you down, allows you to get focused. If the message coming through is, hey, the customers are there, you're okay, it makes a big difference. Jose, you have this correct. Once you relax, new ideas flourish and new customers come. It's how it works. It is absolutely how it works. It's interesting. We went to a leadership conference, and one of the things they were talking about, there was the woman who is the CEO of Gore-Tex was there, and she was talking about how at Gore-Tex, before they had the product of Gore-Tex, this was something that was interesting. It came up multiple times in the leadership conference. Wasn't what it was about. I think somebody they started hearing each other and going, hey, I should tell these stories. And it was all about that space, whether it's personal, okay, like getting quiet, taking the space, or in your business. Before I get into the business part of it, yesterday I did my abundance work. 13 minutes, I think the whole thing was. Felt a lot better. Maeve said, okay, now go out for your walk. And I haven't been doing that. I've talked about that before, how important that is. For me especially, it's the thing that really grounds me. And it's what Jose said. I go out for a walk. I have to walk until the ideas stop because it's spinning. I'm thinking about, I got to call this, I got to do this, I got to do this. This one needs correcting, blah, 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 blah. And you got to go until it's quiet. Yesterday I was gone for, I don't know how long, 2 hours? I don't know. Long enough that she got worried that something happened to me. And I had to walk until it quieted. And once it quieted, I'm just like talking to my spirit guides, talking to the universe. Hey, what do I need to know? Where am I getting stuck? And the ideas flow. Way back when we had started our business, that's what got me to stop being so upset about the fact that I wasn't getting a job and to understand, oh, you're supposed to start this podcast business, which I was not given a clear path to making money with, and I still have not been given a clear path. Otherwise, we'd be making money, like serious money with it. But there was a point I kept having to go out for walks and do this. This is before we had the abundance thing and before we had the tapping. So I just go out for these walks, these long walks. And the one day she said, Maeve says to me, "You've got this like block towards our business, like you're fighting against it. We've started it, it's working a little bit. You've got to process and you've got to get quiet about everything and let it happen, right?" So I did. And I went out, and this was another marathon walk that I went on. And boy, once things quieted, they stopped being quiet. The the entirety of the business unfolded. I mean, the ideas were crazy so much, which before I was getting stuck on the, like we've talked about before, the to-dos. These weren't to-dos. This was, here's what you need to do. Here's how it works. There's to-do again. Here's how it works. Here are things for the future. It was all this stuff. I came home. She says, "How'd it go?" I said, "I can't talk." I went downstairs with a notebook and I filled a notebook, just writing, 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 writing. Very good practice to do that too. Just let it flow. Let it flow. Don't force anything. Just let it flow. See what happens. Some of it could be, a lot of it could be garbage, but some of it might actually be gold. And I came up and I started going through it. And she's like, "Wow, that was like intense. Like there was so much." I was like, "I know. It's like 30 pages of stuff." By the way, prominently, let's get some coffee. I very quickly lost the notebook. We have looked through everything. I mean, literally emptied everything and put it all back together, the notebook. Okay. But the ideas did come in. And like I've said before, when an idea is good and it's crisp in there and you think about it, it sticks around. It might not come back tomorrow. It might not come back that day. For me, I've had ideas that were 30 years incubating. And then all of a sudden I go, bing, and I go, "Oh, hey, yeah, yeah." And it starts evolving. I've had with that particular day, so many ideas have come back to me. And whenever they come back, I remember they are from that exact moment when I was out there walking. Some of them I even remember, like where I was, like, "Oh, I was at the corner when I thought about this. Why am I not doing this? This is perfect." Yeah, I don't know if that's the right one. I'm going to take that off of there. When I was talking about the coffee before, I want to switch this. There we go. So, there's the journaling, there's the walking. Yesterday was very good. It really grounded me. It really helped. Uh, those practices, starting your day with that, can make a big difference. I watched a documentary about now I can't think of his name. He's the motivational speaker. Everybody's seen him. He's a huge guy. He has big teeth. Whatever, they make him in a cartoon. They made him in cartoons before. He's got these big teeth. Man, I cannot think of this guy's name, but you'd know it if I said it. Anyway, it was showing all about his business. He's a motivational speaker and life coach. Motivational speaker. I don't see it on here. Tony Robbins. That's it. See, I knew I'd get there. And it was a really interesting look into his business and what he does. But one of the things he does is exactly what I'm saying. There were moments in it, it would show him doing a conference, and he does a conference and he's trying to talk to people and he's managing all that. And he's got a team that he's working with. And he talks about how he didn't have a team in the beginning, it was all him. He's a small business and now he's a big business. And it was showing kind of the inner workings without that being the focus of what he was doing. But if you are an entrepreneur watching it, you would go, "Oh, interesting how he does that and uh, how he takes this part of the ride and he gives this part to someone else." And one of the things that stuck to me was exactly what I'm talking about right now. each day of the conference, it showed him in the morning, headphones on, doing a guided meditation. Didn't talk about it. It was the voiceover was talking about like, okay, today we're going to be doing this and blah, 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 blah. But the video was showing he gets up, maybe does a little stretching, puts on his headphones and sits and does this so that his day is started the right way. We've all woken up with the wrong start. We've all woken up grumpy or anxiety riddled, or like I did today, I just was off because of this weird endless dream last night. And doing a tapping, doing a guided meditation, going out for a walk, being in nature for me does it. It really sets a new mood. Another thing I like to do, but I don't do it as much now. But I used to wake up and pretty quickly. I mean, like within the first half hour being up, I'd put on music. Now I like it to be a little bit louder and whatever. Maeve likes it. She's like, it's too early for that. Okay, so we'll put on something very calming. Which is still, it is absolutely effective. In fact, it's probably better for me than when I put on something that's like more like "Yeah, aggressive and go. She's like, what are you doing? I was like, I don't know. I don't know. I just like it. Um, so think about your morning ritual. What do you do to actually help yourself get your day going? Another Jose comment here. Tony is real big in real estate coaching as well, and we love him. Yeah, my friend Jack, who is good luck me ever getting him up to be on here. He'd be a good guest just to talk about stuff. He's been my best friend forever, since we were in high school. And I feel very blessed that he got to be integrated with Chris, who is also my best friend. I guess best friend can be multiple people, not one best. He got to know Alil and Chris, and like Alil and Jack and I are all connected in a thread still. So it's like it's just great, right? Anyway, Jack is a like world class trumpet player. So getting him up now, some of the days he's just getting in from all the gigs at this time. So we're not getting him in. But when he came and stayed with us one time because he went to a Tony Robbins seminar, and boy, he came out of there just like shot out of a bullet. And what was good is it was his transition from he was the lead trumpet in the President's Big Band to not being. And what do you do? And he had started his doctoral program, and he was just like he needed that. He needed that motivation and that like focus. And boy, he'd come back. He had this huge book, all these things in it. He'd come back and he's like, I got to tell you all this. All right. He really, really loved that. And before that, he didn't think anything of Tony Robbins. Like if you don't go to one of those things, if you don't watch this, you might just think like, oh, okay, he's motivational speaker. He's going to say this, he's going to do that. And it's not how it works. It's just like with coaching or mentoring. Uh, when you understand what you're supposed to be doing with it, you can really change lives. You can really affect things. And you, on the other hand, have to be receptive. You have to be coachable, right? That's really important. I think I got all that out of my system. I've been thinking about it, and I wanted to talk about that morning ritual and how you, entrepreneur you, business owner you, creative you, can refocus your morning just that much. Even if it's a 5-minute tapping, I'm telling you, it can really help. And whether you believe in that stuff or not, there's not something to believe in. It's you try it. If it works, great. If it doesn't, if you're like, yep, not working for me, okay. You could also explore, am I closed off to it because it's hoo-ha? Or, yeah, it's just not for me. That's okay. I used to try meditation, and my mind would just about other stuff, and I know you're supposed to ground yourself. By the time I was grounded, it was like, I've been doing this so long, I'm falling asleep, and I'm finally quiet. Like, that's not gonna work. Now, I found ways like this Deepak Chopra one that I fall right into it. I go right in, and it gets through, and come out of it going, "Yeah, there is abundance. Yeah, I can make a difference," or, "There's clarity on this. I need to stop doing this because, like, I can finally think about those things." Jose, I'm gonna ask you a question since you're in here and active. Have you been to a Tony Robbins seminar? Have you gone to this? Because I know that one of the things that Jack said is, with what he was doing, he got like a session with him, and he said it was amazing. Have you ever been to one? Have you ever had a session with him, or gone to the big show? We'll see. Sometimes the lag between me asking a question and something happening can be a bit. So we'll see. Hopefully, Jose will have an answer for that. So is there anything out there that motivates you guys? Is there anything that you wake up and go, this is what gets my day going? This is what makes my brain kick on? It might be journaling. It might be, I mean, there's so many different things. It might be just I get up and I cook my breakfast and it's that quiet time while I'm cooking that it all comes together. Here we go. I have gone to a Tony Robbins seminar when I was involved with Century 21 20 years ago, and he was amazing. Amazing, right? Uh, are there things that you learned there that stick with you? Because that's something that I think is important. When I coach and I'm helping somebody, I do two things. I do consulting and I do coaching. Okay. And when I do, and I'll do them together. When it's consulting is me telling you, like, I see what your problem is. Let me help you solve that problem. When it's coaching, it's let's talk about what your problem is. You tell me what you think it is. Let's find some goals, and we're going to help you reach those goals. But you're going to actually unlock those solutions. I'm going to help you get there. And that's exactly what, when you watch Tony Robbins, he's not telling people, do this. And I think that's where the misconception is. He's saying, framework it in your life. Is this happening? Now, what do you think the solution is? What do you think you could be doing? How do we get you to do those steps? What are the things you could be doing? I talk about oh wait, Jose wrote again. It was a big rally just for 21st Century or Century 21 Northern Illinois. Yeah, so they pay him to come in and do a big rally for you guys. I'm sure it was you walked out of there charged up, ready to get that gold jacket, right? Uh so darn it, I lost that idea. I had a good idea that I was starting to play with there. Uh So what is it? Is there somebody that you listen to that motivates you, that gets you going? Or is there a ritual that you have? That's what I want to know. Because I'm sharing some things that are working beautifully for me. And when I don't do them, I notice a pattern also of me kind of falling off the map. Not like falling off like, oh no, my brain or whatever. No, it's more uh a lack of focus. So I have a lot of things going on at all times, right? And one of the things that I'm trying to do now is get rid of the things that they might be paying a little something, but they're not adding into what I need to do. I had quite a revelation this week with all the job stuff, and that at the end of the day, what I'm really supposed to be doing is coaching and consulting and public speaking. I had to really assess what is it I love and what is it that I excel at that people tell me, like, I mean, I couldn't be told this more. Yet here I am going, I'm going to go take this job. I'm going to do that. I was even saying that, just to make money, like I'll go work in a furniture store. Nothing wrong with that. If that's what you do, go for it. Was successful at it, but I hate it. I was miserable. My other jobs I've had that were traditional jobs, they make me literally sick. I have adrenal fatigue, and it's because of the stress of those types of jobs. I might have excelled at them. Some I was very successful. Some I was average. But the stress on me was no good. Yet when I coach somebody, and I don't care how deep in the ocean I get with somebody, I don't get sick from it. I feel good. And I walk away knowing they're better for the conversation we had, whether it's marketing or life coaching. And I've had that revelation, and I've had to realize, like, I have to, instead of chasing all these other strings, I need to start getting rid of some of the balloons and only focusing on the thing that really matters, that really makes me happy, that could financially set us up in a much better way. So instead of 1 hour here and there for that, I need to commit to like 5 hours a day to that, to building that business. And things like this show are part of that, because the two coaching areas that I do marketing, where I'll coach you and consult with you to get your business where it needs to be. And then I also do, they call it life coaching or motivation, transition. Like, I do that. It's funny because some of the people that I've coached with, we started with, hey, I need help getting marketing under control. And then it turns into, once we start doing the actual thing, it comes out that, like, oh, you actually need some life coaching. We got to get some of these roadblocks out of the way. That's what's actually stopping you. It's not your lack of knowledge on this. You can get the knowledge. Anybody can get it. I've gotten it by just looking at books or watching what people are doing and figuring it out. Anybody can take a class. But if you have roadblocks and you're not aware of them and you aren't actively working on them, you are not going to move forward, and your business is going to suffer. Let's see what Jose said. This is a conversation between Jose and I. Motivate and the power to delegate was one of the biggest lessons I learned from Tony. Totally. Two things that people have trouble with. Both of these were key to my success in building up Remax Casablanca later in life. Yeah, right there. Motivate and delegate. Delegate's tough when you're a small business owner, when it's you, when your thing is on the line and your name is on it, let's say. It's hard to delegate. When we had our store, I had to really force delegation. And if I were to do it again, I would do it completely differently as far as that goes, because I'm up on a ladder doing light bulbs. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. It's like, that's not where it should be. That's not where I'm best used. And it was putting way more stress on me. I can delegate those things. You have employees for those reasons. If you don't have employees for them, you need to work to be able to get employees for those things. I'm not calling them menial tasks. They're important. Changing the light bulbs in our store, we had 1 million light bulbs. It was like every day I was replacing bulbs. It was a big job. It was a huge store. Think about a department store. It wasn't that big, but think about how many light bulbs you might have in there. And you've got to make sure those lights are working every day. You don't walk around and see burned out bulbs unless the place is in trouble. But I could delegate. That's important. And motivate. Taking the time to motivate your staff, to talk to them and get them going. That goes back to the first thought I had too. When I was talking about giving yourself that space, this was something that really affected me. And the woman from Gore-Tex talked about this. And then everyone else on that conference was talking about it in different ways. But giving your business the chance to breathe. So what she said is she has an open door policy as CEO. People can, I don't care. She's like, I don't care who it is. If it's the janitor or door person, if it's a secretary, or if it's my lead scientist, I don't care. I'm there. They could come just walk right in and talk to me. If I'm on the phone, I might have to, signal off to them, but they can come in and talk to me about whatever because it needs to be connected. Now, she realized after doing this that it was making people happier to have connection, being able to freely talk to the boss without feeling like I'm going to get, you know, fluffed off or they don't want to talk to me or, chain of command garbage. And she realized people need respect in the workplace. And one thing that'll motivate them is rather than carrot and a stick, putting a dollar in front of them, do this and it'll happen. Let them be intrinsically motivated. Let them take ownership within themselves of what they're doing so that they don't care about the hours. They don't care about punching the clock. They care about the job and the business. And they'll put everything into it then. And she said that what they did was they created a thing where they said, basically, take an hour. It's your time. Hang out with the other people. It's not a lunch break. You get your lunch break. This is one where I want you to go in and talk about your job, talk about what we could do better. If it turns into just a gossip session, well, that's on you. But what happened was it gave people freedom. And they started talking about, like, I want this job to be here. How do we add things to this mix? What can I do? And one of the things that came up was the actual product that is Gore-Tex, which is that rubberized kind of fabric that is water resistant. And, that wasn't something that they invented, like, this is the first thing and we do this. That came out of these, like, a group of scientists sitting around saying, like, could we do this? And being given the space to kind of come up with it. And then when they brought it forward and pitched it, it was like, this is a game-changing product, not just for our company, but for the world. Cortex is used in so many things or has inspired so many things. Google does the same thing right away from the beginning. We've all seen the images of their offices where they have the big stuffed things, and it seems like kind of like playful. And they say people can like just go and play foosball. I mean, yeah, you got to do your job. You can't just become foosball champion at Google and never do anything, but you can get a lot accomplished in a short time if you're happy and motivated. If I can get as much work out of somebody in an hour as the other guys I'm paying for 8 hours by making them happy, and then they're loyal and they're happy, I'm going to take that, right? And at Google, they did that, and that's where all those things. When you go into Google, and actually not, yeah, when you're in Google, and you go up and you see like Google Drive, Gmail, Google Docs, Google Sheets, all that stuff. Almost all of it came from go have your time. See if you can come up with a fun product for Google to try. That's where Gmail came from, literally. We should have a free email service. And they went, oh, that's a good idea. Because at the time they were just a search engine. That was it. Yahoo, email, none of that stuff existed. And Google said, hey, let's try it. It's also frustrating for you as a consumer because that's why Google has had products that you're like, I really like this newsfeed thing. They drop it. It just dies off. Maybe they lost interest. Maybe it wasn't doing what they thought it would do. But the idea that sparked it, that brought it to the public was this time, letting your business breathe. Do you do that with your business? Do you do it with yourself? It's important. A lot of marketing ideas that I've had for my current business, for businesses I've worked with, come from allowing myself that time. Because when you're just working and like, okay, I need an idea for this, and you start trying to churn, great, you can turn that on somewhat. But then if I say, I'm going to go take a walk, if you need somebody answering the phones, I'm there. But if what you want is me to sit there and think up ideas, I'll get back to you. Give me the space. I can't tell you how many, like almost our entire business was built on that, on me just saying, stop racing. Let's come up with ideas. And then Maeve and I will sit and brainstorm together. And those are casual as well. It's think wild. What did you come up with? What did you come up with that might be a real game changer or might burn things to the ground? In our case, it was walking off a cliff to start a podcast network, and it's happened more than once, and it's frustrating. It's hard. It's not what I want to hear all the time. When we did our second podcast marathon, we did the first one. It was one of those ideas. We threw it together. It worked. It was great. It was so much work and no return really. And we went, I'm not doing this again. It's like Rocky at the end of the first movie. Oh, I'm done. I'm not fighting. Where's Adrian? Then a few months later, I'm out for a walk, and I got a very clear message. You're supposed to do it again, but here's what you need to change. I had closed the door on it, and then I got this clear message. And once again, is that God? Is that higher powers? Is that just your brain finally relaxing and getting into that inner space? Is it string theory? I don't know. Anyone who says, yes, it's clearly God, well, they don't actually 100% know. It could be multiple things. What you believe is what you believe, and you could go with that, right? You should go with that. But for me, it was this like clarity, and I didn't want to do it. And I said no. And then I got a clear message, yes. And I came back and I said it to Maeve, and she said, I don't want to do it. And I said, well, then let's not do it. And she's going, no, I know what's right. We both knew it was right. It ended up being 5 of the SMG podcast marathons, plus our touring thing. We did multiple marathons in different places. You know, it was like we were the first. We were the first live podcast marathon that I found. I didn't see anyone else doing what we were doing. We do it. We're going to stop after one. Now they're all over the place. We're forgotten in history. But it was because we did that second one that all the ideas that actually became the framework happened. Okay, Jose, you're writing all sorts of things, so I am going to put this in here. First of all, Tony is still huge in providing real estate advice. Once again, just like with any of the marketing stuff I talk about, there's a link here that Jose put. So you can go into the show notes and you can, or the comments, and you can click on that and get some Tony Robbins info. I don't care what your business is. If you only look at people in your business for what they're doing and what type of marketing advice, you've already lost the game. You have to look at all of it. Or I shouldn't even say all of it because you get buried in that. You have to look at the spectrum of things. In this case, Tony Robbins talking about real estate. Can you look at this? Can you watch his motivational thing and then translate it into what you do? You absolutely can. So you may not do the nuts and bolts of the real estate part of it, but you may get highly motivated. Or like with this, I remember Jose was in a class I teach. He came in and spoke to my class, and he made this comment. Jose, you made this comment about how you use mail, postcards for your business. And it was fantastic. And one of the students said to me afterwards, when they had to do a presentation, they said, well, I liked his idea, but he's talking about real estate, and the idea we're talking about is like a coffee thing. And I went, so if he had said the word coffee instead of real estate, you would have used it, right? She was like, oh, yeah. Stop boxing yourself in. Get the ideas from elsewhere, and it makes you stronger. If you only look at your competition, and you should, but if you only look at your competition, when I say you should look at your competition. But if you only look at your competition, you're doomed to repeat the same things over and over and over, and the same either successes or mistakes they're making. But if you want to make it your own and change things and be successful, You have to look at what the big picture is. Look at the business that Coca-Cola does. Look at the business side of Walt Disney. Look at the business side of the little local record store by you. You'll start seeing what they do right and what they do wrong and what can apply to your business, right? Okay, Jose, another one. United Wholesale Mortgage invited me to Detroit to check out their 3 million square foot operation center. Sorry, it's small on my screen. And it was a full basketball court. And in the new building, they have a pickleball court. They also have a game room, shuffleboard, 4 Starbucks, and 3 Dunkin' Donuts, and a full food court. They model their business after Google headquarters. And I would be shocked if they didn't bake in the time, not just for that, but for your time is also your time. Do you know there are kinesthetic learners or people that think best when they're moving? That's why they put all that stuff in. You get out there, you're playing pickleball, and all of a sudden you're like, hey, what if we did this? Not everybody thinks that way. That's why you have to have options. Have a listening room. If you can go into a place and listen to, like, in my case, like, it depends the season I'm in, but, like, I remember one of the most prolific was I was going through my jazz collection and really giving everything a listen, and I would listen, and I would think, and then wham, idea, 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 idea. Was it because jazz makes you smarter? There's always the argument, the Mozart effect, the jazz effect. Well, maybe it raises your IQ 3 points or something during that, which is also a short-lived thing. You can't listen to Mozart and keep adding 10 points to your IQ. It lasts just a short bit, but maybe it's that effect. Maybe it's the pickleball effect. Maybe it's the taking a walk effect. When you do these things, whatever it is for you, it adds that little spark that puts you over the top, that puts you in the space where the ideas flow a little bit easier. Something to think about, right? The morning ritual is vital, and what you do throughout the day is vital. I've come to some realizations, and these are me. These are me. Uh, I don't do well when you make me punch a clock and hold me to it. I mean, I'll punch the clock so you know what hours I worked. But if you like, oh, you were 1 minute late. Okay, I'll never be late again, but I will never punch that clock 1 minute early, and I will never leave early, but I will leave exactly on time. That's me. Like, I get, I guess, huffy about it, but it's because it's like, well, you didn't respect what I was doing because I'm not late, except once in a while I might be a minute late, traffic or whatever. I had a job that did this. That's why I talk about it. I had a job where they said we started at 10 o'clock, and I had to drive. There was a location right by my house, but they put me at one that was far away for no reason. Okay. Because eventually they moved me to the one close, and I'm like, you could have done this the whole time. I kept asking for it. I don't know what this game was, right? But 10 o'clock, you had to punch in. If you were at 10:01, you got talked to. The one place called it a ding. I hated that. Oh, you got a ding. What is a ding? Stupid. Yet they told you should be at your desk ready to go at 9:45. So when I said, oh, so I can punch in at 9:45. Well, no, you punch in at 10. Don't punch in before, but you should be at your desk ready to go at 9:45. So in other words, I give you 15 free minutes at the end of the week. That's over an hour of my time that you're getting for free. That doesn't make sense. And then at the end of the day, if you're on a call, you're expected to stay. Absolutely not. If you're going to hold me to the fire in the front, I'm going to punch out at 5 o'clock, and I'm not going to look back. 5 o'clock, I'm done. Oh, but we need you to stay around for this. No. Now, take that time card out of it. For me, once again, this is for me. Take that time card part of it out. Yeah, you punch in. Okay, so I guess not the time card, but this like these weird restrictions. When the restrictions, when I don't have the restrictions, I might come in at 9:30. I might come in at 8:30 and work, and I'll work until everything is done. I might be there late. I'm helping a friend at a restaurant right now. I have my time. I get in. I punch in so that they can keep track of hours. At the end of the night, I'll stay until things are done, or until they say like, "Oh, okay, we're overtime." Okay, well, we just cut it. 2 nights ago, I was there helping out, and I cut it because I'm like, "We're over time." I cut the time, clocked out, but there was still stuff that needed to be done, and I said, I just did it. I didn't say anything to him. I just stuck around for another 15, 20 minutes to get it done so that the job was done. I had that intrinsic motivation to get things correct. I don't like to think about the minutes, but I'll tell you what, if you're punching a clock and you know you have to close at 5, what do? You watch that clock from about 4:45 on. You're not going to work. They've lost 15 minutes because of being tough about this time card. Some people have to live and die by it. I'm not one of them. That goes back to that intrinsic motivation and what gets you going. There's a fantastic book I've referenced on here before that talks all about this part of it. It's called Drive. It's by Daniel Pink. And in fact, I'm going to put a link on here because I think Drive Daniel Pink whiteboard. I think you guys would get a heck of a lot out of this. And here we go. Here we go. I've used this one in class to try to show students this. Daniel Pink wrote this book called Drive, and it's all about what makes you and employees do their best work. And actually, the thing at Gore-Tex, the thing at Google, what Jose's talking about here with United Wholesale Mortgage, those are tactics to get the very best out of your employees, getting them intrinsic motivation. He talks a lot about in the book about the carrot and the stick and how it's been forever. People think, well, if you do this, you get a spiff, you get a little bonus. Well, if you make a spiff thing fun, sure. If you make it about the money, there's only going to be a couple of people there that are only about the money. Yes. And if that's how you are, if you are only about the money, there's nothing wrong with that. That's how you're motivated, and go with it. I wish I was more motivated by it. I really do. But most people really are not. They're motivated by happiness, loyalty, being heard, having that space. And when I talk about, waking up and doing these exercises, I'm actually doing an internal version of that. I'm letting my brain be heard. I'm letting it talk to me. And like I said, there's a lot of different tactics. You might need somebody talking to you about it to get you there. Guided this or a TED talk or whatever. You might need music. You might need dead silence. You might need to sit there with a pad and a paper and listen to metal music. I don't know. We all have our things, but if you can take that and apply it to your business, that's when you're going to have real motion. I've seen it over and over with Maeve and I personally. Over and over and over. I keep looking because I look to the staircase because she's upstairs. So if I go like this, Maeve, that's what I'm doing. It's not just sitting and talking about it. It's allowing yourself to process the good, the bad, get motivated. Like, man, I remember we'd have days where we were like shot, tough day, tired. One of us would say something at night just before bed, and then it was like, boom, we got to talk about it for a while. And then by the time we woke up the next day, we were shooting out of a cannon because we were like, let's get in there. Let's do this thing. Because we gave ourselves that time to like calm down, not think about all the troubles of the day. When you just sit in it, or when you sit in a dream like I had today, where you're just like, ugh, it's hard to pull yourself out of that. It's like stepping in mud with a boot, you know? I feel like my boot was stuck in that mud and I was pulling my foot out going, I need my boot. But then I did a little tapping. This actually does the same thing for me, being on here and talking to you and like the interaction. Jose, I'm so thankful you were on here today talking with me. That pulls the mud or pulls the boot out of the mud. Pulls the mud off the boot. I don't know. But it does. It's why I had that revelation about coaching and consulting and what that does for me, because that to me brings me true joy. I guess that's my universal love language, is helping. That does it. What does it for you? And what are the things that get you in the right mindset, that put you there? You know, the planning, the knowledge, all that stuff, those are all byproducts. Those are all things you need to do. But what are the things that you wake up in the morning and you do these things and it sets you off the right way? And it might not be even be something that you're doing. It might be something that you realize, like I realized doing a tapping or doing abundance early has a much greater effect than me doing it later in the day. It sets me off on the right path. It puts my brain in the right space, right? Molly would wake up in the morning and needed her quiet time. She needed to sit in the chair and look at her phone and have her coffee. She needed that to get the day started. Now add in an element like, take 5 minutes to do a tapping. Did that do anything? Did that spark things? Doesn't mean like jump up, still do your coffee ritual, have your morning. But then what's that thing that's going to make you go, I'm ready? Now, does she need that? No, she's 18 and she's super motivated. So she gets up and it's like coffee, quiet, and then whew, off she goes. Right? But when you get to be 57, you might need something to kind of put your day in perspective. Bruce has joined us. What's up? Way to come on time, Bruce. And yeah, okay. In 1 minute, I will start the entire thing over. No, I won't. But I'm glad you're here, Bruce. Today was not about marketing. It was about you, and not you, Bruce, but you. I guess we do talk about brand you a lot. And that's what this is. Nurturing brand you, getting things started the right way so that your business gets the best it can out of you. Taking that time for a walk, today's a good day for it. If you're sitting around in your pajamas still, great. Having your morning coffee, great. When you're done with that, carve out a half hour, go walk around the block. Nothing in your ears. You can if you want, but I'm going to suggest trying it with nothing, no earbuds in, not another person with you. Be alone and take a walk and just try to get yourself quiet. Try not to think about your to-dos. If they're coming in, just say, okay, we'll do that later. And try to get to the point that you hear the leaves from the wind and you hear the birds. And when you get there, appreciate it and see where that takes you. Because yesterday that took me on almost a 2-hour walk and some real revelations that work. And that's it for Bruce. We got a wave and a prayer hand and a later gator. All right, Bruce, We'll talk to you. And in fact, we are done. It's 9:01. I hope you guys get something out of this. Feel free on the message thread on Facebook, on New Media Lab, on my stuff to share your rituals. What works for you? Let's get people thinking about it so that maybe they'll find something that works for them to make their business stronger. Because that start is vital. It's almost like when we talk about curb appeal, making the outside so great that people can't resist. Well, maybe starting your day, starting your day so great that the rest of you can't resist being triumphant. All right. That's it. Jose, thank you for being here. Bruce, thank you for being here. Anyone else that was lurking, I know there were lurkers. Thanks for being here. And I was supposed to have a nighttime one this Thursday. I am canceling it. So I will be back next Saturday, same bat time, same bat channel. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody.